Alright, everybody, welcome to another episode of Dueling Grounds. My name is Francisco. I'm gonna be your host today, and with me, my co-host is gonna be the one, the only, over there.
Tom Metelsky here. I am pumped and ready to go. We got a good matchup today, so looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, so as you know, we have one topic every single episode, and the one for today, it kind of randomly lined up. So we chose Reinventing the Wheel. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be grabbing decks that exist, are well established in the pre-modern format, but we kind of gave it a little bit of a spin, and hopefully that makes the decks better. Maybe it doesn't. We think it does. It's up to you to figure out and to be the judge of whether you think they're actually better or not. But we're gonna be playing Bant Madness on this side of the battlefield, and on the other side we're gonna have
Deadguy Ale.
Yes, a classic. So let's go over the changes of each deck real quick. So hopefully you will enjoy this. So let's get right there into the deck tech. And here we are for Madness. This is a classic archetype, one of the most, I would say, like, nostalgia-driven archetypes in the entire format. Everybody that starts to play Pre-Modern is like, oh yeah, I used to play Madness back in the day. It also happens to be very, very cheap to build, unless you want to build this version, in which case it's not cheap anymore. So let's go over the changes that we made. Survival has become an actual staple in this archetype in the last couple of years, actually. So the only change that I did was to add Meddling Mage. So we're splashing white in order to add both Meddling Mage and Swords to Plowshares. This is an idea that I originally took from Jared Doucette. I think that's how his last name is pronounced. But the idea is that whenever you actually change the mana base a little bit, meaning that you are not playing cards like Daze, like Foil, that we see in other Lexus, and even Gush, all of a sudden you are not forced into playing a bunch of basic islands. And what you can do is you can sort of offset that lack of interaction by having probably the single best card in the entire format in Swords to Plowshares, and in my opinion, the best creature in the entire format in Meddling Mage. Like, both of these cards are extremely powerful, and you know, if you are on the play versus like Goblins, for example, and your opponent plays a turn 1 Lucky, then you're gonna be forced to daze that if you can. And if you can't, you kind of just lose. But if you just like daze the Lucky, then all of a sudden you're going to be down a land drop, you're not going to have developed your board, and your opponent's now going to have access to 2 mana. So it actually sets you behind in a pretty significant way, and you basically never ever want to daze anything on turns 1, 2, or even 3 if you can afford to, because that really slows you down. So in this case, what we're doing instead, we're just like hitting all items, we're still using Careful Study, hopefully powering out some Root Wallas, but we're always going to have 2 mana on turn 2 to cast our Mongrel or our Meddling Mage, which can allow us to like actually pull ahead. And then if your opponent does play something that we need to interact with, we can always answer it with Swords to Plowshares. At the same time, Meddling Mage is obviously fantastic against all of the decks where you want to be doing like interacting with them, right? Like, so this deck obviously has access to counter magic, which we have a little bit in here. I'm going to talk about this in a second. But the idea is that Meddling Mage allows you to interact with the combo decks, which can be a style of deck that the original Blue-Green Madness deck can sometimes struggle against. We have our enablers in Careful Study, Frantic Search, 3 copies of Squeep. This allows us to actually gain card advantage from Frantic Search and Careful Study. It buffs our Wild Mongrels as well, and obviously it can allow us to survival ad infinitum. We have a Singleton Aquamoeba as the 5th Wild Mongrel, and a Waterfront Bouncer and a Wonder as our one of fun of in the main decks. That can be fantastic in specific matchups. We have Arrogant Worm on the top end, and then the 2 copies of Counterspell are there as a late game card. So building this mana base was a big challenge. I tried the cards like Undiscovered Paradise and things like that. I didn't like any of those. So what I did, and my layest video, I actually played this deck through a Magic Online Society League, and what I was doing is I was playing Undiscovered Paradise, and I was playing just, you know, a bunch of fetch lands and Floated Strand and Windswept Heath. That's going to help us have a green and blue and white for Meddling Mage, a couple of copies of City of Brass, and what I'm going to be trying today is a Singleton Treva's Ruins. The Undiscovered Paradise was really bad when I tried it, so I don't want to play that card in this deck. I feel like cards like Undiscovered Paradise or even Gemstone Mine are going to be really, really challenging because you're going to be you really use your mana every single turn if things are going right, and you just cannot afford to have one of your lands just all of a sudden bring you back. Like the whole day's problem that I mentioned at the beginning, it's a big one. So those are the things that I kept in mind when I tried to build this mana base. And even with this, the other version that I tried was playing 4 basic forests, and I realized that in multiple situations I just could not cast Meddling Mage, or if I fetch for a forest, or if I had a forest, then that made my Meddling Mage harder to cast, and then I just could not maybe cast a counterspell or something like that. So it is a little bit shaky. I'm not gonna say that I broke it or anything like that, but I like where this is. And if we compare it to like other stock Madness, blue-green Madness deck lists, this one actually has more blue and green sources than the straight up 2-color versions that are seeing success right now. So that's kind of really saying something. when the 3-mana version of the deck has better mana than the 2-mana version. But yeah, so when we go to the sideboard, we have 1 Monk Realist, 1 Gilded Drake. These are our extra, I guess, 1 Genesis. These are our extra 1 of fun-offs that can be fantastic in specific matchups. An extra copy of Counterspell versus combo decks and stuff like that. Bunch of Hydroblasts and Blue Elemental Blasts. This is because of decks like Sly, Goblins. Those can be problematic, particularly Sly. Then some Naturalizes and a split of Phyrexian Furnace and Tormod's Script to tackle the graveyard and some combo decks. You will notice that there's no cards against elves, and that's because that matchup is straight up unwinnable, so it's just not worth trying to fix. You just ignore it and you hope you dodge it, and if you do, you just extend the hand and you hope that you win all of the other matches. But yeah, this is gonna be the Bant list that I'm going to be playing.
All right, so I'm going to be playing Deadguy Ale. I am actually calling this one playable Deadguy Ale. Just give a little dig there. I'm totally joking. You can play Hypnotic Spectre if you want to, but I'm not going to. But I got to give a shout out to Lanny and you, Fran. So you guys have motivated me to kind of take these decks that are already in the metagame, but kind of refine them a little bit. Is this one better than Hypnotic Spectre version? I think so. Others might think differently, but this is kind of where I'm at. So I started with Deadguy Ale, and this is where I've fallen. So the shaky part with Deadguy Ale is the mana base. So, Fran, you helped me a lot with the mana base, right? You suggest the Reflecting Pool, a City of Brass, even though it's Sly's a bad matchup, but it's kind of like that necessary evil, right? You got to run the City of Brass, but it feels really clean so far. Also running 10 Swamps, which can also make Snuff Out better, and I think this deck needs to run a Snuff Out. And then 1 Tainted Field. I'm kind of torn if that should just be another Swamp or maybe another Reflecting Pool, but so far Tainted Field's been impressing me. But I think only 1. Mm-hmm. The other 2 cards on the mana base I want to talk about are Secluded Steppe and Barrenmoor, the Cycle lands. They're definitely underplayed, but they can't be played in everything. But in mid-range specifically, they help you. They're not flood-proof, but they do help in that aspect. But they kind of clean out your draws a little bit. And then obviously, if you need to play them, you can. But it's mainly just cleaning out those draws that, like late game, that really help you get up some tight jams you might be in. Removal spells. So Swords of Plowshare is the best removal spell in the format. And the other thing is Vendetta. So Black's got some weird removal in the format where it's all target non-black, but luckily in Deadguy you can run Swords of Plowshares. The other one is going to be Snuff Out, a free spell which you can gain back later with Exalted Angel or Death Grasp. I'll get to Death Grasp in a little bit. A Diabolic Edict. So that's just kind of like a catch-all removal spell, kind of a nice flex slot. Sealed Cleansing, you shouldn't be leaving the house without some artifact and enchantment removal. I think 2 of them fit perfectly. One note, I may only run 1 Seal of Cleansing, or I would cut the Diabolic Edict for a Skeletal Scrying. Unfortunately, it's bugged on Magic Online, but we must continue. Then we got Vindicate. So most decks run 4. I totally understand that. And, destroy target permanent. There are times you're going to be stuck with just, 2 Vindicates in your opening hand, and you really don't want that. You kind of want like 1 in your opener. That's kind of where like that number 3 lies, right, in your deck of 60. So you kind of want to see 1 in your opener, and then drawing them late game. They get better, but 2 in your opening hand can be really clunky, and you might be forced into keeping those hands, and they might not do much for you. So I think 3 is correct. And then Death Grasps. It's kind of I'll add that into the removal suite here. So this card's been excellent. It looks bad. It really looks bad, but it's pretty impressive. It's really good too if someone's on Phyrexian Negator. I had a hilarious situation. I hit it for 4. They had 4 permanents, and then bam. So you win the game there. So it's got some reach, and it's unexpected. It's kind of like a lightning helix in black, white, and pre-modern. So I really like 1, and it's got that reach against Sly where it's game 1 is really rough, and Sly is a tough matchup, but Death Grasp can be pretty good. And then the creature suite. So 3 Withered Wretch. Fran, again, that was your suggestion. A lot of decks play Spectral Links. There's no way that card is playable in pre-modern. Withered Wretch kind of answers that task where it attacks, and it also is interrupting the opponent's graveyard. Either threshold, combo, whichever. I'm really, really impressed. I had 4. I could have done a 3. 4 was a little too clunky. Nantuko Shade. Some people think Nantuko Shade is like overrated, but the card's excellent. So it's not like you're going to usually cast Nantuko Shade on turn 2 all the time. It's something where you can control the board with removal and your discard spells, and Nantuko Shade can then be like a 2 or 3 turn clock later on. So it's definitely a 4 of in Deadguy Ale. Exalted Angel, excellent card, right? It's probably one of the best creatures in pre-modern, and it's really important to gain that life. Kind of just wish it was lifelink, but what are we going to do? And then Phyrexian Rager. So everyone, talk of the town is Phyrexian Rager. This card fits perfectly into Deadguy Ale. It's exactly what the deck wants to be doing. It's replacing Hypnotic Spectre, and Rager's just a better card. It's replacing itself. It's a body, and it's doing exactly what you want to be doing. And then 3 Phyrexian Arena. Some people have argued, Dark Ritual into Arena is the way you get ahead and you win the games. Not the way this deck plays out. Like I mentioned before, you're going to control the board, disrupt the opponent's hands, and then you'll land Arena once you can get ahead, and then they can't recover. So hopefully some of these matchups will get that play out that way where you'll see it. And then 4 Duress, obviously staple. And 3 George Verdict. I'm going to mirror that to Vindicate, where 4 is a little clunky. There are times George Verdict is excellent, and there are times it is horrible. Some of the best situations, though, where you can verdict yourself, and when you are really, hitting your life total with Phyrexian Arena. So there's some cool play there with George Verdict. And then the sideboard, Enlightened Tutor. I have a small Enlightened Tutor package. I'm actually thinking Enlightened Tutor might get cut, and just forget about that avenue of just searching for your one-ofs and of enchantments or artifacts. I don't know if it's actually necessary, but right now I'm going to keep testing it. 1 Disenchant, a Seal of Cleansing, 3 Warmth. That's the way you beat Sly. I tried Tarot's Faithful. It is not good enough. I think Warmth's the way you have to go. Chainer's Edict. People have said why Chainer's over Diabolic Edict. Diabolic Edict is better, but in here the games kind of go long, just like the Rock, and you can get a 2-for-1 out of Chainer's Edict, so it's pretty good. And then now that I'm running 1 Diabolic Edict in the main, I like the 1-1 split. 2 Engineered Plague, 2 Perish, 1 Tormod's Crypt, and 1 Powder Keg. And then 2 Infest. So Infest is the Goblins tech. That matchup's pretty difficult. In testing, Infest helps a little, but you just can't let them land Ringleader, so you just got to hope that they don't draw to it, or you're able to get it out of their hand with a Charge Verdict. But Infest is the plan for Goblins. So other than that, the deck's running really smooth. And yeah, I'm impressed with the way it's going. I didn't really expect it to go as good as when I built this from the get-go, but I'm really impressed, and it's running really well.
Yeah, so it feels like what you have going on here is a lot more just mid-range, even I would even say control, right? Like the way that you're trying to position yourself, you're not messing around, which I really like, by the way. Like when I actually gave a shot to Deadguy Ale, cutting the dark rituals and just like being more mid-rangey, I still had access to wastelands. I think I went up to 25 lands, but I still had 4 wastelands. And I actually like the fact that you were just like, no, we don't even need to mess around with that. We can just play 24 lands, have a clean mana base that actually works, which is not something that you can say about Deadguy Ale fairly often. And then, like, I think the changes that you made in terms of like cutting down on Vindicate, cutting down on Gerard's Verdict, like this makes a lot of sense in my eyes. Like, I think that is how you kind of lose traction sometimes with this deck, where when you have like too many copies of a card that is okay, I need to vindicate this like land tax or whatever, and my opponent spent 1 mana to do it, and I'm just like stuck my entire turn just getting rid of their 1 mana something, and oh, like there's a Civil Knight right now. It's just like you end up so far behind in those kind of exchanges, and you point out to goblins, like that's like the paramount example of your opponent plays a Lucky and you just have to spend 3 mana to vindicate it at Sorcerer's Plea. And I mean that's how you lose that matchup, right? Like you can never end up ahead in those kind of exchanges. So I really like those changes that you did there. I think that with the way that you're building this deck, it feels very, very cohesive, right? Like it just feels like a whole piece with a very clear plan. And I mean, one of the reasons why we actually chose to do this is because both of us played these decks. I played my Bant Madness deck in the Magic Online Society, as I said earlier, and you played this deck to very good finish in the monthly this month, right?
Correct. Yeah, 5-1.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna be showcasing this deck a little bit more, hopefully soon enough, right? But yeah, we're gonna be playing some matches of Pre-Modern Magic, which is the best kind, of course. So we'll see you there. All right, time for the moment of truth. Is this hand just great, actually? Like, if I keep this hand and I draw any creature, we're kind of in business. I guess he can have either Duress or Seal, and that would be very, very bad for me. But we have great mana. We have, like, many green sources. Man, like, this may be crazy, but I kind of want to keep this hand. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it. So now we can go turn 1. I guess we're going to lead on basic forest. We're going to go turn 1 forest, turn 2 Yavimaya Coast survival, turn 3 Terevas Ruins, and any creature that we draw is going to just take over. So this is bad against either turn 1 Duress or turn 1... okay, no Duress, that's fantastic for me. So we're definitely dropping the survival here. If he has exactly one of his 2 copies of Seal, this is going to be bad, but drawing Careful Study is definitely good. Can we dodge? Verdict. Yes, that's fine. So I think I'm just going to discard 2 islands here, because I really want to save the Source to Plowshares. In case I find, because they have Withered Wretch. So I think I'm just going to Careful Study. Okay, we found the creature, so that's fantastic. So discard both of these, any order, play Terevas Ruins, and bounce that and pass the turn. So now we're gonna just get two squeeze, and then we're gonna get cooking. And now this survival is just gonna take over. Fantastic, awesome. So here's a squee, and I think that we actually get a second squee here as opposed to getting a Rootwalla, because I think that having cards in my hand in a specific matchup is just so valuable. And now we can actually go for just start doing some Rootwalla thingies. He's going to discard, which is obviously very good for me. So let's get the last squee. Gonna discard it and then get Rootwalla, and then discard Rootwalla. And I think I'm just gonna get another Rootwalla here. Nothing too crazy. Just passing it back. Maybe I should be getting a Wild Mongrel. Unclear, but obviously we're just gonna get back both those squeeze. That's a fantastic draw, because that means that now I can just put an Arrogant Worm into play. He's missing land drops with Vindicate in hand. Brutal. So at this point, even if he does find the land for Vindicate, like I feel like I'm just so far ahead. And the question is gonna be whether I think what I do is I just draw a bunch of cards. I think I don't even discard Arrogant Worm. So like he has to have an answer to survival here. And I think that I could either Arrogant Worm, or I am just going to like go nuts here. Just gonna draw a bunch of cards. So get a Rootwalla. Definitely want to draw a Mongrel. Then discard Squee. Get another Mongrel. And I guess I'm going to like discard the other Squee and get Wonder. Now Vindicate goes away. And now get back those Squees. And my Crazy Keep does the thing. I think I just play out the second Wonder now that I think about it. The second Mongrel, I mean. Just to play around him having removal. Alright. Passes it back. I could have made a Rootwalla there and step. I think it's fine. I am going to pump this Mongrels, however. So, pump with Squee. Make it black. It actually matters to make it black because my opponent has like Snuff Out and Vendetta, so it actually matters here. I guess because of those reasons, I'm just gonna chill here. I think I'm going to pump one of these Rootwallas just to pressure a little bit more. There goes the Plow, and that's fine. Vendetta. Yeah. Can't Vendetta this one. Damn. Alright. Well, so we're going to Madness, Worm. Wow, is he actually going to stabilize here? That'd be crazy. And I guess I discard the Wonder. Yeah, I guess I discard the Wonder. I don't think I discard the Rootwalla because I want to make sure that I can, start the chain again if I have to. Even in the face of him having a Withered Wretch. And like exiling my Squeeze or whatever. And there's exactly the Withered Wretch that I was talking about. Okay, Wonder's gone now. Which is bad, obviously. But it's not the end of the world. So, Plow that. That needs to die. And then Aquamoeba, Sand, Pump. He still has 5 cards in hand. So his hand was just incredible. If he had hit the land drop in time, I think we would have been super, super dead. Like, we were really lucky to dodge that. Okay, that's a problem. Can I threaten enough? So if I discard Rootwalla here, I swing with everything. I'm threatening 13s. He goes down to 1. But then he can't flip, so that's fine. So play a land, and we just swing with everything. I think it's just too slow. I'm definitely trading the Aquamoeba for the Angel, though. If there's one way that he can stabilize, it's actually with the Angel. Okay, so he blocks there, and I'm happy to trade. And I could actually just hardcast Squee, but I think that bringing him down to 1 is better. He could have Snuff Out. Yeah, but that kills the Arrogant Worm, which is still fine. He still takes... he still goes down to 4. I guess I was assuming that he was taking the damage, but he obviously wasn't. He was blocking the Aquamoeba, so I miscounted there. I still think it's better to pump. Another Morph creature. Well, now I can threaten lethal. So I guess he needs to have exactly Swords to Plowshares in hand and he can win. Is that a good draw? Is that a good draw? Oh man, Magic is easy. I don't understand the people that say that Magic is hard. Pump. Counterspell. Boop. That is lethal. Perfect. Alright. Sideboarding. Genesis looks fantastic. Gilded Drake also looks pretty good. Still in opposing, flipping, what's his name? Exalted Angel seems like a great deal. Do I want Monk Realist versus specifically Phyrexian Arena? Counterspell is also interesting. I don't think I want Naturalizes, but Monk Realist is actually close enough to being in the question here. It's more of the matter that I don't really like Meddling Mage in this matchup. Like, in this kind of matchup, they have way too many removal spells, and kind of what we're trying to name with Meddling Mage is a removal spell. So, barring something like Wither Wretch, I guess, my don't, obviously Blow Metal Blast doesn't do anything, Phyrexian Furnace / Stormlord Script don't do anything, so it's between Naturalize and the third copy of Counterspell. I think I'm gonna bring in the one of Naturalize. All of my other cards are bangers. All of my other cards are just spectacular. So it's just, does it have more value to me to have this random Naturalize here, or is Counterspell better? I think Counterspell is better. And I have just like the singleton answer to Monk Real into Phyrexian Arena in Monk Realist. The argument would be against stuff like Powder Keg, but I don't think Powder Keg, I mean, it's decent against us, but I don't think it's that good. So yeah, I think we just submit this. Okay, so speaking of the Monk Realist, so this hand is decent though. It has Careful Study, it has some, I guess it's not really decent, huh? It's actually just kind of very mediocre. I could keep it on the strength of Careful Study. There's also the argument that most hands against Deadguy Ale I kind of just want to keep. I feel like this is on the lower spectrum of keepable hands. Like, it's just functional enough. Okay, now this hand's great. Now it's officially great. And, oof, wow. Yeah, this is good. I think I'm discarding Monk Realist. Although I guess Monk Realist can really mess up. I think I'm gonna discard Aquamoeba actually, because Monk Realist can really mess up if he goes for like a preemptive seal. It can be a big deal. Yeah, so this is kind of annoying. Like, Genesis actually does not give you the option. I think I'm gonna I think I actually want to play Survival. Like, this is bad if he has exactly Vindicate or something, but yeah, he has the Vindicate. But otherwise, like, I just don't really get any value from the Mongrel. So just play out the Mongrel now. And the argument was I need to have a creature in hand. So if I play out the Mongrel, then I only have the Monk Realist to like get value from Survival. So it's kind of awkward. I don't think that next turn I'm just going to, if this Mongrel gets answered, I'm going to just get back something. I guess I still do. I just get back the Aquamoeba. Just pay for Aquamoeba, get it back. Lands are fantastic. Lands are exactly what we're trying to draw here. I think I don't actually attack, however. I just don't really see a reason to attack. I feel like we're going to be playing a longer game, and if I attack, I just have to discard a real card to the Mongrel. Like, I don't have a squee going or anything like that, so I'm actually discarding a real card to the Wild Mongrel, meaning that this Phyrexian Ranger is effectively a 2-for-1. So if I find another Survival, we're gonna be in good shape. And here we can actually just cast Time Walk. I think I'm not paying because I really want to deploy this Aquamoeba. Gasp. just gasp right there. All right, pass the turn. I mean, I'm probably, if he flips, I guess I'm not actually just Gilded Drake in here. I guess if he does flip, I guess I do. But then we get kind of owned by Vindicate / yeah, we just get kind of owned here, so just gonna flip. Yep. So STP that thing. Do I want to get back no, I don't think I want to get back Genesis. Another Mongrel. So let's Careful Study, see what we find. Okay, so gonna be in Monk Realist, and I think I'm gonna be in the Frantic Search. I'm gonna be in the Counterspell, actually. Kind of unfortunate right there. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass the turn back. Like, I'm not just gonna Source of Plowshare this random Phyrexian Rager. We got a little bit of tempo out of that last turn. I could have also played another Mongrel this turn. I think it's worth considering. Well, that's something worth plowing. So Source of Plowshare is that one. And now we untap. I think I don't pay for Genesis. That's good. It's a fine top deck right there. Man, I really need to find one of my engine cards here. So I guess this coming turn I am going to start paying for Genesis. And now we're just hopefully gonna start grinding down. So now Genesis is gonna get back. I guess it's gonna get back itself. 1, 2, 3. Say yes. Another mongrel. Okay. So I think right at this point, now is when we can start attacking. Because now I have enough cards in hand that I can start deploying mongrel. So that's fine. Gonna play out the mongrel, pass it back. And I don't really want to overextend in here. He doesn't have any sweepers besides Infest, which obviously I'm pretty sure he did not bring Infest against me. But okay, so now this is just fine, right? So now we end step, discard Genesis to Mongrel, and then we untap and Genesis get back Mongrelist. 2, 3. All right, so Mongrelist, definitely a right card to bring in. Confirmed. Mongrelist is awesome. We figured it out. We figured it out. Boy, Genesis did some serious work. Also, shout out to the White Splash, huh? Swords to Plowshares, killing both of my opponent's potentially stabilizing threats in Exalted Angel and Nantuko Shade, and allowing me to, like, Genesis back in Mongrelist. Shout out to the White Splash. So Withered Wretch may be a problem. And that's, by the way, that's the reason why I got back the Genesis on that previous turn, right? Like, so if I have the Genesis in hand, my opponent can't Withered Wretch it away. So that's the reason for return the Genesis, like however many turns ago, like 2 or 3 turns ago. So if I just hold on to the Genesis basically for as long as I have to. It's also an extra card to like discard to Frantic Search, which is nice. Okay. So I think I am paying for Genesis here for the reasons that I just explained. Another green source is fine. Yeah. So I'm going to attack with the Monk, I think, because I want to have the option to get it back if I need to. Like this 1/1 literally doesn't line up against any of my opponent's threats, so that's just fine. Play a land, say go. We have a bunch of green sources. Like if we find Genesis, we're gonna be straight up good too. If we find Survival, we're just gonna go nuts. We're gonna go crazy. Nantuko Shade. It's gonna get plowed. So end step, plow the Shade. Dude, like Swords to Plowshares is such a messed up card. It's a good play by him. Obviously, he gains a couple of life here in the process. All right, just taking a point to gain a point. The point did get across. I can say that much. I am going to discard Genesis once again to make a display. 1, 2, 3. Get back the Monk. Have an island. Okay. So he takes it. Do I want more islands in play? I think so. I think one more land is fine. I don't think I want any more lands now. I think we're good. Even if he does have another Angel, we can just Gilded Drake it, which is nice. We also have Frantic Search now. Passes the turn back. This is turn 12, by the way. Genesis targets itself. I think we just say yes here. And another island. Yeah, whatever. I feel like we're just in good shape. I feel like we're just in very good shape here. Just gonna shuffle here. I think I'm just gonna deploy another Wild Mongrel here. Just send it back. So Withered Wretch could potentially be a problem. Though at this point we probably have enough pressure on Withered Wretch that we can just outmuscle it. CD Brass. Just untap. It's not great. Alright. Send the boys. Send the boys. Diabolic Edict. Yep. Aquamoeba down. Yeah. I guess let's Frantic Search here. Let's see what's up. Boom. Yeah, those are good. 1, 2, 3. Going to Madness Root Wildline to play. And just gonna play out this Bouncer. Say go. And now we got the combo. Bouncer plus Gilded Drake. It's as hot as it gets. Ooh, is this gonna be a Death Grasp? Death Grasp is hot here. Oh, Snuff Out. That's fine. Just a hard cast Snuff Out. Oh, Death Grasp is a sorcery, my bad. Gerard's Verdict. Okay. I'm gonna hold on to the Gilded Drake, I think. It's just way too bad if he plays out an Exalted Angel, or like if he plays out a Wretch. It's just way too bad for me, so... Perish? Oh my god. Okay, so I guess we're just discarding a card to make this black. Wow. Yeah, okay, that's good for him. Guess I could have played around Parrish. If he has a Widow Wretch here, we're gonna be in trouble potentially. Ooh, Rager getting in there. I like it. All right, so we're gonna get back, I guess, Rootwalla? I think so. There's an argument for getting back the Drake as an answer to Exalted Angel. Ooh, that's good. That's a good one. All right, swing, pump. I guess I'll pump again. I guess I'll pump again. And now it's a black mongrel. And now we send it back. So now he needs to draw exactly Withered Wretch. He can't draw Arena because we just get back Monkrillus and we just blow him out. I guess he can, if he draws Angel, we just steal it with Gilded Drake, so that's also not good for him. Now he's in Champ Block duty. And I think I am actually getting the Drake here because it's just, it gives me the out to the worst case scenario. Like, it gives me a guaranteed out to my opponent having, what's his name? The Exalted Angel off the top. Well, we're definitely pumping here. And I'm actually going to play out Flooded Strand because if he finds Gerard's Verdict, like, I don't want him gaining life. So I actively want to discard my cards. I actually want to play out my land there for that reason. This was a grind, turn 16. But, yeah. I mean, Genesis is such a banger in this kind of matchup. Genesis is such a banger. Nantuko Shade. Okay. So I guess we have to steal that, which is fine. Let's get water from Bouncer. 1, 2, 3. Say yes. We Drake the Shade right there. And now we swing with both. And unless he has Source of Pleasure specifically, this should be lethal. Now these pumps. And we trample for. Alright, there we go. Got there. Alright, so that was a match. That was very cool. Like, I feel like it was much closer than I thought it was, right?
It was real close. Yeah, I made a few mistakes. I mean, the one I think actually I could have turned that corner in game one. So I had the Angel morphed. And you had the two Rualas. I should have just, I knew you get two counter spells. I should have just swords then up on your upkeep, and I still go to 1, and then I can start turning. I flip Angel because you draw a counter spell, but you drew the counter spell, and I waited. I should not have waited. There's some situations where maybe like I was thinking like what actually would have mattered if I waited. I just shouldn't have. There was no reason to wait and get like cute during your attack, but I was also just thinking like, okay, yeah, he's not gonna draw a counter spell. But yeah.
It's
I was also stuck on 2 lands for a while too.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. Like, I think I won game 1 solely on the base. Like, my opening hand was 1 survival, 1 Source of Plowshares, 5 lands. And I said, I think that this is a keep actually in this matchup. And I was like, okay, so if he has the answer to the survival, then we are like, we're gonna be in bad shape. But if we draw any creature at all, then this survival by itself is probably going to be enough to win. And it was. Like, I think you skipped like 2 land drops, and that was just enough because I actually had like a decent amount of green sources. So that's why I was like, if I do manage to activate this survival like 3-4 times, that's very likely going to be enough for me to run away with the game.
Yeah, and you did, right? Because that's why I said that while talking through it. I was like, all right, now he's got the 3 squeeze, and it's like, how do I catch up? So by the time I vindicate there, you're so far ahead because you kind of already like put your plan together. Luckily, it felt like I was able to recover a little.
I was really impressed. Like, at one point, I was like, does he really have like 6 cards in hand still? Like, I was just like, you were answering all of my stuff, and I'm just like, geez, like, he really has 5 cards in hand, and he doesn't have lands because he's been missing land drops. Like, so that's all gas.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was drawing well though, even though I was missing because I said that too. I was like, all right, we got 3 swords, a vendetta. I was like, we're safe right now. Like, we're just buying time. So yeah, it kind of played out well. And then like drawing the land, and I was like, okay, I played the first Angel Beta swords, which happened, and then I was like, I got the backup one. But yeah, I wish I kind of did an upkeep to see what would have happened, but it was still really close. Like, definitely grindy. And then game 2. that was Genesis just
Yeah.
overpowering. Like that was so crazy. That was actually the best Genesis I've seen. Like that was insane. Like the
Yeah.
value, and then the end of turn to get the monk realist back. Well, I boarded out 2 arenas because they're a little off here. I kind of wish I kept them in well, actually not that game, it wouldn't have mattered. I would never had it in play. So I kind of glad I did, but yeah, that was crazy. The value. I mean, you could just then pitch things for free and then get them back. It was so crazy. That was, that was showing what Genesis is there for, right? It's like for those mid-range grindy matchups.
Exactly, yeah. So, and what I was doing, like, I was just like basically buying back the Genesis every turn. By that way, I was playing around with the wretch. So, like,
Yep.
I just don't expose it, and then if I actually need it, I just like discard it on end step anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not using that mana on anything else anyway. I mean, I could use that mana on something else, but I don't have to. And that also gives me like something to discard, as we saw. I'm pretty sure that I was stranding some number of either Vendetta or like Snuff Outs in your hand, because like you just cannot kill a Mongrel as long as I have cards in hand. So even the Perish, actually, like that Perish, like the fact that you were able to go like 1-2 punch, just like Verdict into actual Perish, like that was actually one of the few ways they would have been able to to kill my Mongrels, right?
Yeah, I was holding Perish for a while too, because I was like, okay, there's no value right now for me to do so. And then I just kept waiting. And then finally, it was like that one turn was like another Mongrel or 2 Mongrels, whatever. I was like, or not 2 Root Walls. And I was like, all right, now it's the time. I was like, I can't keep waiting. That's part of the problem too. But it was interesting. I was able to wait a little bit. Like Rager was playing like a pseudo wall. And while I figured, I was like, he knows I have at least 1 removal spell in my hand, so he can't attack profitably. And then
yeah, because I just cannot afford for the Rager to like force me to discard a real card, right? Like I have to. Yep. I just was not finding my survivals. I only found the one that you were able to like kill immediately, and then I was just like running. I just didn't have gas that would actually allow me to get ahead on cards. So like I couldn't find my squeeze, couldn't find even Wonder or anything like that. So I was in a spot where I can't really attack into your Rager. Otherwise, you're getting like a legitimate 3-for-1 out of the deal. So
exactly.
I can't afford for that to happen. I guess it would just be a 2-for-1 because like you're chomping.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah, it's like a lot of value on my side.
Exactly. Like it's much more value than I can afford to allow you to get. So then when I started like rebuying the Genesis, I'm like, oh yeah, now I actually have fodder to like throw away to this Mongrel because I have enough mana to just like get something back with the Genesis and also do something else if I want to. So that's when I can actually start attacking through, and that's when I started clocking.
Yep. No, and you played really well, like I said, because once you started picking up Genesis, I was like, all right, yep, he's playing around Wretch now, because I mentioned, I was like, I need to draw into Wretch. So you kind of already saw, like, you put the pieces together, like Wretch helps, gets me out of this huge jam. But yeah, I didn't see the Wretch, but I would have needed to see the turn where you did not pick up Genesis, and it was too late.
Yeah, that was very interesting, and I understand what you were saying about like the deck being just good. Like it really felt like he's kind of keeping up with this active survival. Like particularly game 1, like the fact that you missed land drops and you were keeping up with an active survival, I was just like kind of blown away right there.
I was kind of shocked too, honestly, because I was like now it's like over, even though you were so ahead. But like the fact that it was Deadguy was still like in it, like. I think that's where the deck is its strongest suit. It can keep up, right? It's got flaws, obviously, but it can like keep up in that card advantage race and control the board. It's really good at controlling the board, and like in the opponent's hand and stuff with all the removal spells. But yeah, that was a good match. It was fun, and I'm glad it was like really back and forth too. Even though I missed my land drops, it still was very back and forth. So
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think that if you hit that land drop number 3 on turn 3, like I just lose straight up. I think it's just over.
Probably, right, because then like you don't have the survival, and then you can't get. Yeah, it probably would have played out differently, because then I had the first angel use swords, and then the second angel I probably can't keep up with the angel, and that's probably where Madness struggles, right? It has a hard time with elves or like Exalted Angel.
Yes, I mean Exalted Angel is fine because you can always just like discard Wonder, and all of a sudden you just like throw a bunch of dudes in front of it, so you're just kind of fine. Also, I play 4 plows, so big dudes, big dudes, and it really showed. Like that match number 2, I was actually seeing, okay, right now we are in this game, like we just went through 2 Nantuko Shades and an Angel, and we blew up his arena thanks to like this monk that I discarded on turn 1, but because it's actually a creature, I can actually get back with Genesis. So if I had actually had a Naturalize instead of the monk, I would have been just completely buried by that arena. So
absolutely,
the White Splash really showing its worth right there in that last game. So it felt like we were playing very strong decks. Like
it did.
I really felt like that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with the Madness with the White Splash. It just makes sense, you know. Like sure, like it's just the back and forth there was just like really intriguing. It's just like 2 mid-range decks, like that's how it should play out, you know. And yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, so for the record, like in the future, we are considering doing matches best of 5, but this one was actually like a solid amount of content. So we said, okay, this is enough. But if we have like matches that just go out, just happen quickly, you know, like we had in the previous episode, then we're going to like make those a little bit longer in the future. But yeah, for this one, we're gonna wrap this one up. Any final thoughts, Tom, before we close it?
No, I would just say like you know, thanks for everyone sharing their input. I mean, that's where we got some of this insight from, was from the community. So if you have more ideas, just let you know me or Fran or I know, and then or just make a comment on his YouTube channel. But we want to hear from you guys and like what you want to see, and yeah, and some of it is in preparation for LobsterCon. So what deck ideas people might want to do, what they might want to play. They might see something here. They might meet, you know, someone. You never know. So let us know what you want us to do.
Yeah, we're probably gonna be keeping it a little bit more on the competitive side of things. So like what we did last week was just fun and everything, but I don't think anybody's gonna bring either one of those decks to LobsterCon. But until LobsterCon, we're gonna try to keep it a little bit more competitive and play like more quote unquote real decks. But after that, everything's fair game. just so you know. Yeah. So you can expect competitive from now until LobsterCon, and then like after that, it's gonna be whatever. So. But yeah, if you have any suggestions of like other cool ideas for us to like do here, don't forget to leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed, just hit the like and subscribe button on the way out. You know, it helps people find our content as well. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next episode of Dueling Grounds.